When we think of military power, our minds conjure images of immense strength, massive armies on parade, columns of tanks rumbling down grand avenues, and soldiers marching in perfect, intimidating synchrony. We think of the titans of military might, the United States, China, and Russia, projecting power across continents. Their arsenals boast aircraft carriers, stealth bombers, and nuclear submarines. This is strength measured in trillions of dollars, millions of personnel, and technological supremacy that shapes global events. But this is only one side of the story. For every superpower, there are dozens of nations where this level of power is an unimaginable fantasy. So, what about the other end of the spectrum, where military might is defined not by its strength, but by its conspicuous absence? Today, we're exploring the world's smallest and weakest military forces. These are nations where defense is often a matter of local policing, not global posturing. For some, this is a deliberate choice, a principled stand for peace and neutrality. For others, it's a stark reality dictated by economic constraints, a small population, or the simple fact of being a tiny nation with no need for a large standing army. But what exactly makes a military weak in the 21st century? The answer is more complex than just counting soldiers and tanks. Is it a budget smaller than the cost of a single modern fighter jet? Is it a lack of personnel, with forces numbering in the hundreds, not thousands? Or is it the reliance on outdated second-hand equipment from the Cold War era, with no modern technology to speak of? The truth is, it's a combination of all these things. To create our list, we'll analyze military capability across a range of key metrics. We'll look at the raw numbers, active personnel, the annual defense budget, and the inventory of available land, sea, and air equipment. But we'll also consider less tangible factors. A nation's geography can be a powerful defense, while its strategic location, or lack thereof, determines its security needs. Crucially, we'll examine the role of alliances. A country may have a tiny military, but enjoy the protection of a powerful ally, effectively outsourcing its national defense. These nations have chosen handshakes over hardware, treaties over troops. With these criteria in mind, let's count down the 10 weakest militaries on the planet. Our journey will cover countries that have completely abolished their armed forces, entrusting their security to police and international goodwill. We'll also visit nations with forces so small they are primarily ceremonial or exist only for internal security and disaster relief. It's important to note that weak is not a pejorative term here, it is simply a geopolitical classification. So prepare to see a different side of global security. Let's begin our countdown. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Costa Rica, a beacon of peace in a historically turbulent region. Following a brief but bloody civil war in 1948, the victorious president José Figueres Ferrer famously abolished the army. He declared that the military budget would be redirected to education and healthcare, a move that became a cornerstone of the nation's Pura Vida identity. Today, security is handled by a professional police force, the Fuerza Pública, while for larger threats Costa Rica relies on diplomacy and international pacts. At number 9, we have Iceland. This island nation has never had a standing army. Its strategic location in the North Atlantic, however, makes it a critical point for monitoring transatlantic traffic. While it has no army, it's not defenseless. The Icelandic Coast Guard is a capable force with modern vessels, aircraft, and a radar system. As a founding member of NATO, Iceland's ultimate security is guaranteed by the alliance. Periodic air policing missions by NATO allies ensure that despite its lack of a military, Iceland's sovereignty is well protected. Coming in at number 8 is the world's smallest sovereign state, Vatican City. Its security is famously entrusted to the Pontifical Swiss Guard, one of the oldest active military units in the world. Founded in 1506, their role is far more than ceremonial. The Swiss Guard is an elite bodyguard force, and applicants must be Swiss citizens who have completed military training. This highly disciplined corps protects the Pope, while day-to-day policing is handled by a separate body, the Gendarmerie Corps, which acts as the Vatican's police force. Number 7 brings us to the glamorous Principality of Monaco. This tiny nation gave up its military ambitions centuries ago. Under a treaty, France is formally obligated to defend Monaco's independence as if it were its own territory. However, Monaco does maintain its own small, well-trained unit, the Compagnie des Carabiniers du Prince. This force of around 120 members protects the prince and the princely palace. This defense arrangement allows Monaco to focus on its economy, with the French military providing the ultimate security guarantee. At number 6, we find Andorra, a tiny principality nestled high in the Pyrenees between France and Spain. Andorra has no standing army and has been at peace for centuries. Its unique defense stems from its history as a co-principality, jointly headed by leaders from France and Spain. Today the President of France and the Bishop of Urgell in Spain serve as co-princes, and both nations provide informal protection. Andorra maintains a modern police force for internal security, allowing it to maintain its sovereignty without the expense of a military. Number 5. Liechtenstein. With just 80 police officers serving the entire nation, Switzerland handles any serious military threats. Number 4. San Marino. This microstate maintains a ceremonial military corps, but relies on Italy for actual defense needs. Number 3. Nauru. This Pacific island nation has no military whatsoever. Australia provides security assistance when needed. Number 2. Tuvalu. With fewer than 12,000 residents, Tuvalu has no military. Their biggest threat isn't military, it's rising sea levels, and our number 1 weakest army belongs to Palau. This Pacific paradise has 0 military personnel. But here's where the story takes a fascinating and counterintuitive turn. While we often equate national strength with military might, with tanks, jets, and massive armies, these nations challenge that very assumption. They operate on a different paradigm entirely. What if true strength isn't found in the capacity to wage war, but in the ability to make it obsolete? This isn't a story of weakness, it's a story of a radically different, and in many ways incredibly successful strategic choice. It's no coincidence that many of these nations consistently top global rankings like the Human Development Index and the Global Peace Index. There's a direct and powerful correlation. By consciously deciding to demilitarize or maintain only a minimal defense force, they unlock what economists call a peace dividend. This isn't just a theoretical concept, it's a tangible reallocation of immense national resources, both financial and human, away from conflict and towards creation. Take the remarkable case of Costa Rica. In 1948, following a brief but bloody civil war, President José Figueres Ferrer made a world-altering decision. He abolished the nation's army, famously taking a sledgehammer to a fortress wall to symbolize the new era. That wasn't just a symbolic gesture. The funds previously earmarked for the military were constitutionally redirected towards education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Today, Costa Rica boasts one of the highest literacy rates and life expectancies in the Western Hemisphere, far surpassing many of its heavily militarized neighbors. It has become a global leader in ecotourism and a hub for international diplomacy, proving that a nation can be secure, prosperous, and influential without a standing army. Of course, this strategy isn't conceived in a vacuum. Geography is a silent but powerful player in the grand game of national security. For many of these nations, their location provides a natural defense that no army could ever match. Consider the numerous small island nations like Tuvalu or the Marshall Islands. Their strategic value to a potential invader is often minimal, while the logistical cost of launching and sustaining an amphibious invasion across vast oceans is astronomically high. Their isolation, once seen as a disadvantage, becomes a formidable deterrent. Why spend billions to conquer a remote archipelago when the return on investment is practically zero? Then you have the microstates of Europe, like Andorra, nestled high in the Pyrenees between France and Spain, or Liechtenstein, tucked between the stable democracies of Switzerland and Austria. An invasion of these countries would be politically unthinkable, as it would mean attacking their powerful, protective neighbors. Their security is woven into the very fabric of European stability. They don't need a large army because they exist within a fortress of established alliances and mutual interests. Furthermore, the very nature of conflict is changing. In our hyper-connected 21st century world, the old metrics of power are becoming outdated. The idea that security is solely achieved through boots on the ground is a relic of a bygone era. Today's most potent threats are often invisible. They travel not on armored personnel carriers, but through fiber optic cables. A crippling cyber attack on a nation's financial system, power grid, or communication networks can inflict more damage than a conventional bombing campaign. For a fraction of the cost of a single fighter jet squadron, a small, agile nation can develop a world-class cyber defense force, turning a potential vulnerability into a formidable shield. This is where the power of modern diplomacy comes into play. These nations are masters of soft power and multilateralism. Instead of building armies, they build relationships. Security treaties and defense pacts with larger powers create a web of collective security. Iceland, for instance, has no standing army but is a founding member of NATO. An attack on Iceland is legally an attack on the United States, the UK, and all other member states. This alliance is a far more powerful deterrent than any army Iceland could possibly afford on its own. And this brings us back to the peace dividend. The money not spent on tanks, missiles, and military salaries is directly invested back into the population. This creates a virtuous cycle. Better education and healthcare lead to a more productive and innovative workforce. Superior infrastructure and a stable political environment attract foreign investment. Their reputation for peace and stability becomes a core part of their national brand, making them magnets for tourism and international business. Who wouldn't want to visit or invest in a country known as the Switzerland of Central America, or a pristine, peaceful island paradise? Their economy becomes intrinsically linked to maintaining that peace. When you compare the daily lives of citizens, the contrast is stark. While some nations pour a quarter of their GDP into defense, leaving public services to crumble, these peaceful countries offer their people robust social safety nets, free or affordable higher education, and a sense of personal security that no amount of military hardware can provide. This translates into higher levels of happiness, trust in government, and overall societal well-being. So, to label these nations as simply having the weakest armies is to miss the point entirely. They are not weak, they are playing a different game with a different set of rules. They have made a calculated choice to redefine national security, moving it from the battlefield to the classroom, the hospital, and the boardroom. They've traded the sword for the scholarship, the battleship for the business partnership. Their success offers a powerful lesson for the rest of the world. While this model may not be universally applicable, geography and regional politics are harsh realities, it proves that there are alternative paths to security and prosperity. It forces us to ask a fundamental question: what is the ultimate purpose of a nation? Is it to project power, or is it to provide the best possible quality of life for its citizens? Perhaps the greatest wisdom lies in recognizing that true power isn't the ability to destroy but the courage to build. What are your thoughts on this? Is this peaceful model a naive dream or a viable blueprint for the future? Could or should more nations follow this approach? Share your perspective in the comments below. We read everyone. And if you enjoy exploring these complex geopolitical questions, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more content that challenges the way you see the world.